Are you looking to date with more confidence? Well, today I'm going to give you 3 tips that will boost your confidence when you go out there dating. And if you stay until the end, I have an extra point for you then as well. Now, if you're really looking to boost your self esteem and confidence regularly, make sure you stay up to date with all the episodes and get a weekly confidence tip. Then all you got to do is go into the show notes and click the link, and you can be part of our weekly newsletter and community to receive the latest there. So, I've gone through my 20s. Now I'm 33. But through my 20s, I went on quite a lot of dates. And admittedly, at first, I was terrified. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm just like, oh, what's she thinking of me? And just all this real self conscious. And maybe you can relate. And I've certainly spoken to a lot of people and they can relate. Now, there's been situations where it worked out quite well and maybe it progressed. And there's been times when it didn't go so well and we didn't go past the first date or anything like that. And that's totally fine, right? Yeah, I was able to start taking some observations without, well, I did overthink it a little bit, but as I went on, I didn't overthink it too much. I was able to make some observations and analysis about putting myself out there and what would make me more confident into those situations. And what I learned was I would always get a little bit nervous because it was coming out of my comfort zone. Yet there were things I could do to really help my confidence. Because what I often see a misconception, not just in dating, but when people look at other confident people, it's like, oh, they just have no fear. That's rubbish. Everyone has fear. There's no fear, as one of my mentors says, there's no fearless people. There are just people who fear less, and they fear less because of the action they take and the way they think about certain situations and going into them. So I thought it'd be really useful to dive into this today. I want to say as well, I used to make a lot of excuses in my late teens and early 20s when I'd be at university, for example, and then my mates be like, oh, you're going to go on a date with someone or like a girl they might suggest or whatever. And I'd be like, nah, mate, I'm too busy, all this kind of thing. And it was just excuses. As human beings, we're very good at making logical sounding excuses to get out of things that are uncomfortable. So that's one thing I really noticed. Now, the reason I believe, well, I personally found that dating and the area of intimate relationships rather than any other kind of relationship or area brings about this kind of dread, this fearfulness, is because it's the one that can really activate that fear of not being enough and therefore lovable. It's the part that can really get some of those bits you hide away from other people or even yourself without even noticing. They can really come to light. And I had a really difficult situation last year, and I started to notice some of the challenges I actually had that I wasn't even aware of, and I was able to bring them to the light and work through them. Now, me and her weren't a match in the end, but it did really allow me to see some areas for development. And I found through dating that actually this is the area where I've been most challenged with my self-esteem and confidence. And it's always an ongoing journey. Yeah, some people obviously really lack confidence in public speaking, even putting a video out there. And there's no judgment, completely understandable. I used to be terrified of public speaking. Like, you are where you are in your journey. Don't compare yourself to someone else. Yeah, I found from speaking to other people, this area of dating relationships is hugely a huge impact. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a dating relationship coach because I'm currently single and this is not my area of expertise. What I can share with you today is some things that really help me get more confident in this area. That, well, admittedly, in my early 20s, I used to have like a couple of drinks before I went. And I don't think that's uncommon for people to have a couple of drinks to reduce those nerves before they go on a date. But I remember getting to a stage where I went on like speed dating. Most people were like drinking when I went in there. I went in there just like sober, had a good time, right? It was good. Like, I didn't meet anyone special, but I just enjoyed the activity of going there and then talking to different women and, talking to people in general, right? So it really does activate that fear of not being enough, therefore lovable deep down inside of us, I believe, is the key area. And I was talking to a friend, and she's I'm gonna like hands up, a much, much better business person than me. Like she's killing it, six, almost seven figures, and a lot younger than me as well. And she was saying her self-esteem was really impacted when she was dating a guy, right? And her last relationship. So if this area has really knocked your self-esteem and confidence, I would personally share from my experience, it is the area that challenges it the most, right? Now, when it's gone well and I'm with someone, with the right girl or someone I thought was the right girl at the time, you can sometimes feel unstoppable when it's going well. So it kind of works both ways. So ask yourself this: if you're just holding yourself back and being fearful of like the self-talk and you like putting yourself down, how's that helping you? How's that helping you in this area or any area? If you're anything like me, it didn't do me any favors. So what I really want to share is just a few real short, simple tips that really, really help me. So the first one is your self-talk, as we kind of touched on. So making sure every single day, without fail, treat it like the mental gym, like you would treat the physical gym. Make sure you're saying kind words to yourself, even if it's just 5 minutes in the morning. Look at yourself in the eyes, even if it's hard to do. People quit on this too soon. They're like, oh, I start telling myself I love me, but I couldn't feel any impact after 2 days. That's because it's 2 days against a lifetime condition of you saying some negative things. It's going to take a little bit more than that. Just stick with it. It's like, oh, I went to the gym once. Oh, I've not got a six pack or massive biceps. It's the same for the mental gym. If you keep saying positive stuff to yourself, if you say positive stuff to yourself for a couple of days after you've had like a decade or more, or a couple of decades of really picking yourself, or maybe a few decades, picking yourself down, how do you expect it to just suddenly clear up in a couple of days? You don't. You condition it. Now, there is a speed up process to that, which is patting yourself on the back, praising, putting good emotion rather than just passively saying it. Yeah, it's something that if you stick with it, you'll start noticing those little differences. Just make it small so it's sustainable though, right? The second one is prepare. And this is what I'd say for any area where you want to boost your confidence. When I used to go and speak in meetings in a workplace, I used to be terrified, but I made sure I prepared. Now, the more I did them, the less I had to prepare because I was more confident with what I was telling people. Yeah, if you're new to someone, don't over prepare, don't overthink it, but maybe just think about some interesting stories you could say, maybe just two or three, maybe like two or three really decent questions to the girl or to the guy or to the person, whoever you're going on a date with, right? Just and make the questions ideally a little bit interesting. And Google's your best friend, or Chat GPT is a really good resource as well. Don't be like, what do you do for work? How are you? Those kind of things. Just try and make the questions a bit more creative. Maybe just a few points about you, a few points about them, because preparation really does build confidence. And then the third one, let go of the outcome. Go with an intention in mind, and the intention is this is not going to be the necessarily aiming for this to be the love of your life and hope they're the one, because I used to do that all the time and just set myself up for failure and real disappointment and I'd put a lot of pressure on myself as a result. Just go in with like an intention. You're going to have fun. You can have a conversation. You've got maybe a couple of things you want to talk about. If the flow of the conversation is good and it doesn't go to those points, you don't need to say them. But yeah, just have an intention to go out and have fun. Let go of the outcome of them being your future wife, your future husband, your future person. Just let go of the outcome. That's a real good bit of guidance that I found really helped me as well. Now, I've got a bonus point for you as well. And just before that, I want to mention again that if you really want to stay on top of all the episodes and never miss out on an episode, make sure you got weekly insights on boosting your self-esteem and confidence, then all you got to do is click on the link below and you can sign up to our newsletter to make sure you don't miss any episodes and you get those extra tips for boosting your self-esteem and confidence. Now, my bonus tip I want to finish off with today is do a belief audit. Beliefs are what make and break human beings, I have personally found. When I found myself doing really well in there and I've just got this confidence, I'm going for it, I usually find my beliefs are supporting me. Now, that's not always started off in that way. So, for example, I create podcasts. My belief is like, I'm a decent podcaster. I can talk. Like, I know not everyone will like me. I'm not everyone's cup of coffee. I say coffee because I prefer coffee to tea. I'm not everyone's favorite, podcast. That's fine. That's totally fine. I believe in my ability because I've done it again and again, and I've created that belief. I believe that when I go and work out, I do fitness, I'm gonna do pretty well. Like, I know I'm a pretty fit and healthy human being. Now, in the past, I've had things like real challenges in my dating, and it's been things like beliefs like, oh, I'm not lovable, what they might not like me, and all these negative beliefs which actually come across. Now, you've got to take a bit of action, and those beliefs won't just go away. But what I found is really useful to do is start actually noticing consciously some of these negative beliefs coming out, and then when you've got some time in the evening, when you're alone with yourself, whatever, just write down these beliefs and then start questioning them. Why are they not true? So, for example, and it's usually goes to a deep down belief of not being lovable, usually. So, for example, oh, I'm worried about how I look today. Therefore, that means they might not like me. Therefore, if they don't like me, that means I'm not enough. Therefore, that means I'm not lovable. And then you start seeing actually some of these beliefs that are embedded quite deep. And then you can start questioning them and start asking yourself why they're false. Why is it you're lovable? Well, you're born on this planet. You were born to exist. Think of times you've had like love given to you, like in terms of friends or family, just all these kind of things, and actually know that you are loved, like deep inside. That's the essence of who we are, right? We just get all these negative beliefs coming in. So a belief audit is super, super useful. And when I start consciously writing down things and noticing when I've got like negative triggers or beliefs, when I start questioning them and writing them down, that really helps me with my confidence. And then I start replacing them with more positive ones. So that's what I've got for you today. I appreciate you for being here because you're improving other people's lives for being the best you and listening to information that's going to help you. And remember, you are in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.